This is a very interesting temple. Hundreds, perhaps thousands of these lyles, flying foxes, hanging in the trees here in and around the temple. These flying foxes are often persecuted and in fact caught and eaten in much of their range, so most of the known populations now are restricted to temple gardens or private parks. There seems to be some kind of squabbling going on higher in the canopy for perching positions. The mother's teats are positioned in the arm or wing pit, perhaps, I should say, and that is where the young then is seeking to suckle. It looks most peculiar seeing the young bat poking around, nosing around under the wing of the mother bat. Interesting to see bats occasionally cleaning their wings, and then we can really get a good view of the bones, the incredible bone structure that makes up this wing. The bats themselves can weigh up to almost 0.5 kilogram, so it's a substantial amount of weight that those wings have to lift off the ground. At times you can see the very long thumb on these bats that sticks out about midway up the front edge of the wing, used for scratching and to help in climbing. Very long indeed. At one point I was filming a bat, and at first I thought it was raining, and then realized the poor thing was being urinated on by another bat from above. I was certainly glad that I was filming from the side at that point. These flying foxes are fruit-eating bats, of course, and they will sometimes raid fruit orchards. Perhaps that's another reason why they've been persecuted in the past.
Large flock of helmeted guinea fowls scurry around, squabbling in the cold morning air. Their unique call is ubiquitous in the early mornings here, and they move around busily, scratching in the grass and dirt for morsels to eat. They pause in the chill morning to groom themselves and each other thoroughly before moving off en masse to begin foraging in earnest for the day. We make our way up towards Jesse's Pools. This is a series of large lagoons surrounded by a mature mapani forest. Single hippo munches enthusiastically on some very thick vegetation in the shallows. African jacanas are plentiful here. These beautifully coloured little birds, also aptly known as lily trotters, have exceptionally long toes that allow them to walk on floating vegetation where they forage for insects and other small aquatic vertebrates. Quite comically, at one stage, one of the jacanas lands briefly on the hippo's head, but this is a very precarious perch and is quickly vacated. A bit later on in the day, a herd of elephants makes its way down through the forest. The elephants are moving quickly and with obvious purpose. There are several calves of various sizes in the herd, and the youngsters play and tussle as they move. The elephants all make their way down to the edge of an inlet to the lagoon and drink briefly. They have obviously already drunk somewhere else and only take a few short gulps of the fresh water before continuing westwards. They feed hungry on the leaves of this bush willow, and the dexterity of their trunks as always amazes me. They can pick individual leaves from a branch and at the same time effortlessly shake the entire tree. As the afternoon wears on, the herd makes its way through the Mopani forest. The elephants are very relaxed now, and it's an extremely beautiful scene, just peaceful and amazing just to sit in amongst and watch.
There's an area just north of the Namasari Channel that we've come to dive fairly frequently. It's called the False Mouth, and it seems to mimic the Namasari River. Big lotus lilies begin to hang and drift in the current. Hippo paths are the way hippos generally move around and underwater in this area. They make these clear pathways that seem to meander just up the riverbed. Almost every dive that we do, we drift along these pathways and you can see hippo footprints. These are incredibly well-used paths, particularly in the False Mouth. As we get further south, down the False Mouth, that's where these big papyrus caves start to really open up. Hidden in the furry root network of these papyrus caves, we started to find a bunch of fish, and the ones I like to find particularly are the squeakers. Squeakers are incredibly pretty and have the most amazing markings on them. We moved out of the papyrus caves and into the channel and into some of the deeper holes. And in these holes you can see how the trees had fallen down. There's a huge variety of squeakers that we get in the Okavango, and the spotted squeaker is one of the largest that we get. Protruding out of the mouths of these squeakers, you can see they have these barbels, and these are sensors that they use to pick up any piece of decaying flesh or anything they can eat. We don't often see freshwater crabs in the system, and just as we left the hole, on the edge we found these two crabs that seemed to be in a bit of a tussle. The slightly bigger one had completely dominated the other. don't quite understand what was going on here. It looked very much like a dominance game between two males. Didn't really look like any sort of breeding activity.